had burned that image into the collective unconscious of a generation of theatergoers, but couldn't remember even the title. The NPS boat stopped first at Ellis Island. From there, it would continue its endless triangle, ferrying staff to Liberty Island, then the third leg of the run, back to MIO, the dock shared with the Marine Inspection Office of the U.S. Coast Guard, where Anna had boarded. Farther out in the harbor, the Circle Line ferried its tourist cargo in roughly the same path, but docking at different points on the islands. Anna was bunking in Patsy Silva's spare room in a cozy little cottage on Liberty Island, in the shadow of the great lady herself. The view from Anna's bedroom, could it be duplicated, would jack the price of a condo into the high six figures. As it was park housing, Patsy and her roommate paid the staggering sum of $140 a month, recompense for living in an area a GS7 on NPS wages couldn't possibly afford. Loath to go home immediately, to strand herself amid the all-too-human accoutrements of coffee cups and telephones, Anna thanked Kevin, disembarked at Ellis, the Liberty Four's first stop, and slunk away, keeping to the deserted brick alleys. For ease of reference, Ellis was divided into 3 islands, though all 3 of its building complexes shared the same bit of earth and were joined together by a long, windowed walkway. Island 1 was the facility the tourists saw. Spectacularly refurbished in 1986, it housed the museum, the registry hall, the baggage room, and the service areas through which 12 million of the immigrants who poured into America from 1892 to 1954 had passed. Vaulted ceilings, as airy as those of a cathedral built to worship industry, intricate windows, modern baths, electricity, running water, all the state-of-the-art 19th century architecture had been lovingly restored to its original grandeur. And returned, Anna had little doubt, to its original cacophony. At Ellis's peak, 10,000 souls a day were shepherded through the golden door to America. Now, Ellis, in season, saw 8,000 to 10,000 visitors from all over the world each day. The raucous babble of languages must have seemed familiar to the old building. Echoing off acres of tile in cavernous rooms, the din gave Anna a headache. She'd arrived in New York 2 days before. After a day of staring blindly at exhibits, she'd been driven to Islands 2 and 3. In these crumbling urban ruins, she'd found solace. Isolated from the public by an inlet where Circle Line ferries disgorged 2-legged freight, Islands 2 and 3 had been the hospital wards and staff living quarters when Ellis was an immigration station. One of the first American hospitals built on the European spa principle that light and air are actually good for people, its many rooms were graced with windows reaching nearly from floor to ceiling. The infectious diseases units on Island 3 were interconnected by long freestanding passages, walled in paned glass. Ellis had boasted a psychiatric hospital, 2 operating theaters, a morgue, and an autopsy room. At the turn of the century, the hospitals on Ellis were showcases for modern medical practices. That, and the fact that at one time or another, nearly every disease known to man was manifest in at least one hapless immigrant, lured students and doctors from all over. They came to Ellis to teach, learn, and observe. In the early 50s, the hospitals had been abandoned. Unlike the registry building on Island 1, they'd never been restored. There had never been funds to so much as stabilize the structures. Thus, Anna loved them, found in them the peace the sprawl of New York City had destroyed, even in the remote corners of her famed city parks. On these abandoned islands, as in the Anasazi cliff dwellings in Colorado, the sugar mills on St. John, the copper mines on Isle Royal, nature was taking back what had once been hers. Brick, glass, and iron were wrapped with delicate green tendrils.